Welcome back to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I'm Ellis Nordhoff, and today I'm back with a preview for AFC Bournemouth versus Everton. It's at the Vitality Stadium, and it's a stadium that has not been a happy hunting ground for Everton at all. We've never won there. We've never won there since they've been in the Premier League, and it just seems a complete bogey team for us, Bournemouth. They just find a way, don't they? I can think back to all those games where it went terribly wrong or we faced bad luck, and it never tends to go well, does it? I'll remind you of a few, and then we can put them aside and build some positivity for this game. That 3-3, I think you can all remember it. We were winning until the 98th minute of the game. I think it was under Martinez, and Junior Stanislas equalised, made it 3-3. If we were ever going to win it, it was going to be that day, wasn't it? And just didn't happen. Just didn't happen for us, and it all went wrong. And then since the most probably memorable in a bad way one recently is just before the World Cup under Frank Lampard. We played them twice in a week. Some Evertonians went twice in a week. I went once. And we lost 7-1 on aggregate. 7-1 on aggregate to Bournemouth in a week. It was a week to forget, and a week that we had to mull over for 6 weeks until the World Cup came. It wasn't great at all. I was there on the Tuesday night when we got beat 4-1, and to see two different Everton teams lose to two different Bournemouth teams in a week was just unbelievable in the worst way possible. But that's not going to happen this time, Blues. We're going to be positive, aren't we? Because we need that win, and we're going to get it, hopefully, on Saturday at 3 p.m. Starting with team news, though. Sean Dyche did his press conference and didn't really learn a lot, did we? James Garner's back on the grass. Timur Abunim's back on the grass. But not the proper grass, the sports science grass. It's a new type of grass that Sean Dyche has announced. So they won't be fit for the game. Seamus Coleman won't be fit for the game. There's a few decisions to be made. And for me, the main one is at right back. And then there's also one up front, I'd say. We'll start with the up front one. Armando Broja or DCL. That's the decision to be made. And for me, I'd give Broja another go. I thought he didn't do amazingly in his first start at Everton, but he didn't do bad enough to be replaced by DCL again. I feel like he should have a bit of a run now, and I think he should start this one too, because it'd be quite unfair on him to be dropped after one game when Dominic Calvert-Lewin's gone countless games without scoring. So I'd be going with Broja for this one. I'd be trusting Broja for that. And then at right back, Nathan Patterson has got to come in. He has to. He absolutely has to. And that is not to replace Ashley Young out of the team. That is to replace Vitaly Mykolenko. And I love Mykolenko, top guy. Seems like a great fella. He cares about playing for Everton, and he's got a lot of passion, and on his day he can be a really good defender, but at the moment it's just not happening for Mykolenko, is it, at all? And poor Nathan Patterson has just not had the minutes required to develop as a footballer, and at 23 years old you really need that. And the showing that he did in the 20 minutes that he came on against Nottingham Forest showed me that he needs to be in this team. If we want to start scoring more goals, we need to have Nathan Patterson, because he makes your winger 10 times better. He provides that overlap opportunity, and suddenly you start thinking, oh, Jesper Lindstrom could do 10 times better if he had Nathan Patterson on his side. Iliman Ndiaye could do the same, and that's what we need to do. So Patterson's in the side for me, and Broja is staying in the side as well. Other than that, wouldn't really change much. But we're playing a side in Bournemouth who I never thought would get to this under Areola. And I'll take you back now to Goodison when we beat them 3-0. Good day. Great day. Don't think we've beat them since. And James Garner scored, and we just went at them from the off. High press. They just weren't having it that day. They were playing out from the back and trying to play this, what Dyche called today as total football, and it just didn't work. And I thought Areola was done after that. I thought he just isn't cut out for the Premier League, but he's adapted. He's completely overhauled the way they play, and they're one of the most frightening teams to play now in the league. They're sat in 7th in the Premier League, pushing for top 6, pushing for Europe maybe even. And I think quietly they've got a squad that is way better than the team that they're playing for at the moment. You think Justin Kluivert, you've got Semenyo as well. The defence is solid. The Senesi I don't think's fit at the moment, but they've got that Hyson that's just come in out of nowhere, and Kirkez at left back, really talented player too. So they've got players that you wouldn't know as top players necessarily around, you wouldn't instantly say, oh, these are top class players, but they might be at big clubs in a few years. I think that's probably the way to describe them, really. I'm expecting them to get raided in summer. I think that's what will happen to a team like Bournemouth. No disrespect to them, but if you've got players that good, they're not going to stay at Bournemouth for that long, are they? And you've got Evan Nilsson up front, who came in for Dominic Solanke when he went to Tottenham and has settled in really well, actually. He's not scored loads of goals, but he's a high pressing, hard working, all round striker, and he does a lot for the team as well as his goal scoring, which he kind of makes up for it with everything else that he does. And before anyone mentions Dominic Calvert-Lewin, he does a lot more than Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and he does score a few, whereas Dom doesn't score any. So, But moving on from that, I think there'll be a very tough team to beat. The high press is going to be right at us from the off, and we have got to be so calm and composed on the ball. When we get it, we need to make sure we don't give it away, because these lads are on you like a flash, and that's going to be a bit of a worry for me, because our players just aren't great on the ball, are they really? People like Jared Branthwaite, who've had difficult times lately with pass backs, need to be right on it. Oral Mangala, we need to use to the best of his ability, make sure we give him the ball. If we're in danger, let him get us out of it, because Oral Mangala is good on the ball, and we just can't be taking too many risks, especially not away from home, where we just never seem to beat them as well. It's going to be a difficult game, and what I think we've all noticed in the last few years with Bournemouth is when they really get up for it, and when the ground gets up for it, there's just a buzz there, really, and it can carry them through games. They've had big comebacks, they've had big wins, and we don't want it to get to that point. We want to settle it down, quieten the game from the off, and then just, as Everton sides want to do, nick it. That's it. Sean Dyche will want to nick this game, won't he? We're not going to go and try and play them at their own game and beat them. We're going to try and nick it, and this represents a chance to get that win that we ever so crave, that we haven't had recently. Yes, we've had some good draws, like I said in the last preview, but that Nottingham Forest game last week just made those draws look a lot worse in the end. Great points, fantastic points against Chelsea, Arsenal, Manchester City, but you need a win just to make sure that I don't think you can class yourself as in good form if you haven't won in that period. So that Nottingham Forest game needed to be 10 times better for it to be considered a good run. And now I think that game against Forest was that bad that you could argue that the form might have even flipped now. It was just awful, wasn't it? So we either need to see a reaction in this game and a win. That's what it has to be, because if you draw again, people will continue to look at the rest of the stats and go, we aren't in good form here, because we're not. Getting odd points is not going to keep you in the Premier League. That's not going to do it. You have to win games, and this one absolutely needs to be a win. If we are going to do it, I think it'll be from trying to score our first counter-attack goal of the season. We still haven't done it yet. I read a stat on that. We still haven't got a counter-attack goal, and that is how we're going to beat Bournemouth if we're going to do it. It'll have to be a quick break from someone like Iliman and Dye, someone like Jesper Lindstrom, and maybe a ball through to Armando Broja to go and win it. But my prediction for this one, Jesper Lindstrom is going to score his first goal. Come back to me if it happens. I think it might. If he just starts Nathan Patterson at right back, lets Lindstrom have that bit more freedom, I think he might get a shot off and score in this one. We've got to be positive, haven't we, please? We've got to be, because this January is just as tough. Maybe slightly easier, but I'd say nearly as tough as December, really. So once again, we've got to dig in, got to get some big results and drag ourselves away from this danger zone, because you look at the bottom now and teams are picking up points. Ipswich beat Chelsea this weekend. Wolves now, under the new manager, Vitor Pereira, of all people, are picking up points. So we need to get out of this, don't we? And we want to make sure that by the end of January, once you've played all those fixtures, we're in a more comfortable spot. Because I feel like this time of the season, it's where it really shapes the league table, doesn't it? There's so many games in the festive/January period that at the end of it, you really do know where you're at as a team. And hopefully where we're at is somewhere a lot better than we are at the minute. Who knows as well? Might get some January signings. We could do. Who knows? But Happy New Year to you all, Blues. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. What do you think is going to happen in this game? I think we're going to nick it 1-0. It's going to be a horrible game, and we're going to finally win at the Vitality. Fingers crossed we do. Let me know as well, what would you do with the team? Is it time to bring Nathan Patterson in? I think it is. But I hope you enjoyed the preview today. Speak to you next time. See you in a bit.